What's up, everybody? We got to talk about this price action. It's sitting right on an important support level. What's going to happen? Let's get into some tunes. Everybody get involved in the live chat. I might be caught. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, but I'm here for you. We got to talk about these markets. We're going to get into this in just a couple minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do this retweet, get this going, and we're going to get to it.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish shelter. It's not our fault. Blame the coal. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pump, altcoin, pump.
we are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe
Getting
crypto will play
excited.
that type of role as a
Like
Can't
we're
nobody
right
tell
on
me
the edge of
nothing.
something
Bitcoin,
major in this
pump.
market.
We are hearing from
What are you
clients
doing about
around
it?
the world.
How are you acting within the market? Are you acting emotionally? Are you taking positions, strategy? What are we going to do about this? Because this is sitting right on a razor's edge. What level should we be watching? Let's get into it. Everybody throw a 1 in chat. If you're ready to go, hit that like button, the subscribe button, ding the bell, and let's get into it. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. We got to jump right into the charts because we're seeing some really interesting price action over the last couple days. Of course, we've broken out of this range all the way down. Let me move this out of the way. You can't see that, but there we go. All the way from this move right here where it was at $58,000. In a matter of days, it basically took it all the way up here to $69,400. And we're getting a little bit of a move to the downside. And some people are losing their minds right now. I ask you, why lose your mind when we're now in a multi-month, about 2.5 month uptrend, higher high, higher low, higher high. What's the next step? We need to form that next higher low. And we marked this out yesterday, this blue box. And what do we see? We see the price action coming back, almost touching it, not quite there yet. Will we go down there? Well, that's what we got to ask ourselves. We got to ask ourselves, where do we think the market's going? How can we position ourselves? And how can we mitigate our risks so we don't end up chopping ourselves out of assets that can turn huge profits if we don't lose them now making silly moves. So let's continue on here. We're going to be, and I'm not feeling that great today, so I may go a little short, but that's okay because we got some great stuff to look at. So looking at the markets on crypto, on the bubbles, on the daily, most of these were red early this morning. We're starting to get some green here. And you can see on the hourly, a lot of them are starting to get a little bit of that little bump retracement. So does this mean this this drop is over? Is it going to bounce from here? Well, we're going to look at that. We're still sitting here at above $2.3 trillion. We don't need to go through this. You see this on every stream. You know what's going on in the market. That's why you're here. We just got to dive into a little bit more data. So let's talk about it. This is the kind of buy pressure I like to see. Now, what is this? This is a chart from the Rational Root. And look at this. The highest level of ETF inflows were a record 9x the new supply. Remember, the new supply, all those coins that are being minted every time a block is mined, 9 times the coins that are being minted was the buying pressure. This is so far outpacing the supply that's available. This is going to lead to something major in the very near future. So we've got to pay attention to what's going on right now and not lose sight for the bull market that we're in. Some people say, when bull market? Well, let's zoom out on this and realize that we've been in a bull market since back here in March of 2023. We had the initial impulse. Remember, this is where it started because we had the higher high, we had the higher low here. This is where this move is confirmed. And we've been in a bull market. We've had it 7 months of felt like never-ending sideways consolidation, just breaking it. It's over. But we've seen over the last several months that we've actually been rounding out, and now we're on the verge of breaking out and making those next runs. So how can we tell if it's just price action? What else we need to look at? And just notice this. I just saw this on the daily, on the BitLab trading stack. Look at this, red, 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 all red here. So there is some indication on price action and the underlying data there that we may get a little bit of a pullback. And, looking at the liquidation data, this makes sense. Let's go out to the weekly because we have so much liquidity below us still. Yes, there is some liquidity above us, but we've been slicing through this, kind of sliced through this. I do think we're going to kind of scoop up some of this liquidity here below us. But let's look at other data other than liquidity and price action. Well, let's look at accumulation scores. This is 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin. 100 to 1,000, 10 to 100, 1 to 10, and less than 1 Bitcoin. We're starting to see a lot of blue here. Blue is good. Blue means that type of wallet, the wallets that are holding this amount of Bitcoin in them in these different cohorts, have been adding to positions. And in fact, there is some retail coming in this zone. These very small wallets been stacking up, as well as these sort of medium to large wallets. We're not getting the greater than 10,000 stacking currently, but we're getting all this other major cohorts stacking. So very bullish if you ask me. Now, moving on here, I put out some charts this morning based on some different metrics I was looking at and, basically marked them up so you could see the data. But let me take my face off this. I'll take it off for this section so you can see these charts. But looking at the data here, this is the MVRV score, or this is the MVRV score. So you're seeing the measurement of the traded price, the price on exchange, versus the realized price, the average of every coin in circulation the last time it moved. And so what we see with this metric on the bottom, is showing you essentially the spread between the price action either below or above. So you see how we're below this here? It's because you're seeing these moves below the realized price. And then as this moves up and it gets wider and wider and wider from the area between these 2 points is measured with this. So when we look at this as a relationship to price action and it really having strong movement, early on in the cycle, even so far back as 2012, we saw an initial basically attempted break of this 2 level, and we had a little consolidation, and then the next breakout was the actual move. Same thing back here in 2016. We had the test of this level. This is also roughly right about the halving. A little consolidation, which we saw. We've talked about this 170-day period, and then that next move chopped a little bit, but we started getting that spread, but this did result in that parabolic uptrend. Similarly, right here, 2019, we had the attempt here. This was that move from 3,100 to just under 14,000. Breakdown, the consolidation, and the global economic shutdown. But then the next break of this with momentum and authority, with volume, we got that next move up. And this was post-halving, pre-halving, post-halving. Now look at this. Pre-halving, is this what's coming next? Well, the data suggests that it may be on the horizon. So just pay attention to that. And next chart we're looking at here is this is the fair value bands, the fair value map from the Rational Root on his Bitcoin strategy platform. And I apparently deleted 2 letters here that's supposed to say fair value band, but this is essentially, you're seeing this middle green band right here. This is essentially a calculated fair value map that he's made on the charts with undervalued and overvalued, overheated sort of zones. And you see when we broke up above this fair value level, we found it as support and then went parabolic. Same thing. We broke above it, found it as support, then went parabolic. We had the fake out here, but we didn't find it as support. So that doesn't count because this is not finding support on fair value. But then what happened after the global economic shutdown, once we initially reclaimed it, we used it as support, and that was the parabolic move. And this is what we've done right here. Yet again, we've broken above. We actually had it right here on the fair value band. We pushed up. We came back and have tested it again and been riding it. I do have very strong convictions that we will have a very strong bull market to follow. If you've been bored by the last 7 months, just calm down. It's okay. Sometimes realize the boredom is what the market mechanism is trying to engage you with so that you don't make smart decisions in this market. All right, so let's continue on here, baby. Falco, what's up, my friend? Dave Middleton, what's up? Peter John Lurham, what's up? And Alexander G, always in the house. Teo Rodriguez, I love seeing all you on a regular basis. We got 191 people in here at the moment. I'm sure we're going to have quite a few more pour on in a bit. But looking at this, if you've been wondering why this market isn't performing like the previous cycles, well, then you're not looking at the data. Because this is a chart that's measuring since the days when the cycle bottomed. It's measuring all the last 2 cycles from the bottom of that cycle and then overlaid them on themselves. So you can see the day. This is the bottom. You can't see it under my. Let me move my camera 1 sec. You can see this is the bottom for all 3 of these cycles. And we've had, we've kind of split the difference here. We had a deviation above, which almost counteracted the deviation below on the last cycle. But then this 7-month consolidation, you see, this is it zoomed in. We're literally exactly in the middle of right where we should be. Sorry, is my volume a little low? I have a different mic today. Maybe this is a little better. Let me check. Is that better? Let me know if that's better. Thank you, Jojo Gunn. But we can see we're exactly right in the middle of where we should be. And the next move on this for the last all 3 cycles, but the 2 that we're seeing here, this is that strong, basically the start of the strong movement to the upside. Now, this is a 2017 cycle, this yellow. I think we're going to do something more like this yellow cycle than we did the last cycle where we had that impulse up, the rounding top, the Chinese FUD that brought us down, and we got a second top. So either way, whatever happens, I do believe, based on the metrics that I'm going over and breaking down here, that the likelihood is way stronger for the upside than downside. Does that mean that we cannot have some downside but before we go up? Meaning maybe we pull down to 62, maybe we go down to 58, because the fair value band right now is at 58,000. So we there's a lot of room to play with and us still be incredibly structurally bullish. So yeah. So this is what I'm seeing right now. Now, continuing on, shout out Falco gifting 5 BitLab memberships. Big love to you. I appreciate you, my friend. I always love seeing that, bringing more people into the family. Now, bullish news for Avalanche. Avalanche launches Visa card for crypto payments. Have you all seen how much Avalanche has been in the news the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks? With Off the Grid, the game that they rolled out, which is getting so much attention. And it's also, I think, going to be somewhat of a subversive way to bring people into crypto, because a lot of people that are just going to be gamers aren't even going to realize initially that it's something that is Web3, because there was pushback on that a few years ago. People were like, I don't want crypto. But people are starting to realize how you can integrate things and not make it so crypto focused on the marketing, and actually integrate those things and let people realize, oh, I have this game, I have this gun that I won in the game, or I have this skin or this character quality. I can sell this because I earned it. That's going to be a major impact, I think, in adoption in crypto over the next few years. And Off the Grid and Avalanche absolutely crushed it with that. But now we're seeing they're integrating with Visa as well. This was supposed to be way later in the show, but it's okay. We're going to continue on. Now, check this out. This bull hasn't even started. Look at the accumulation for the last bull market. Notice the topping process. Look at 2017. Now, look at today. The momentum runs chills down my spine. So this is, you see this? This is 1 year change in total whale holdings. This was a initial large impulse towards the end of the bear market, especially when we had the really big collapse here from 6,000 down to 3,100. But then almost immediately after that, we're seeing this large pump up, a little sell-off here with some basically taking profits. Why? Because if you measured from the top here to the bottom there, this was perfectly at the golden pocket of this macro move. So maybe some smart money was just realizing this is a peak. I'm going to let it break down, because whales, smart money, big money, they buy in market weakness and sell in market strength. That's what it's so hard to realize when you get into this market, because you're so emotionally triggered. You have to buy the fear and sell the hope. Buy the fear, sell the hope, sell the greed. So, but look at this. This was kind of a sustained rounding. Look at the whale buy. The huge holding impulse that we've had in this last 7 months. This is a base case. And many of these whales are going to be institutional, as well as big money, that are not trading the market trends. They're realizing, because this is coming to their awareness now. It's on the world stage with not Big Get, what's it called? BlackRock and Vanguard, BlackRock and Fidelity and VanEck, and there's 41 I think ETFs out there, and this is basically starting to give a little bit of quelling a little bit of the fears that were out there about the potential hesitations around the market, because it's gotten provenance now. It's gotten acceptance from the government sector in that it has a regulated electronically traded product now, electronically traded fund. So this is massive that we've had this at this level here. This would be the same as if all of this was combined into this moment right here on the chart. This is incredible what we are seeing. Are you bullish? I am so bullish on this market. And again, I'll say it again. I'm so bullish that I still try to force myself to really look for bearish targets, because we have to make sure that we don't get completely one-sided views on what's going on in the market. Fade and TradFi says, Kelly, help me out. Brother Piper has me bearish for November. No, bullish, baby. We are bullish. I think November is going to be good. I think there's going to be a good opportunity for some washouts in that, but I think for the most part, from here on out, I do think that we are going to have some very bullish price action. And that goes back to what I was showing with these charts, with the fact that this MVRV score has had the same response the last 3 cycles, and we're just now on that potential thrust to that next move. Additionally, we saw that we've basically broken out and tested this fair value band all 3 previous cycles, and once we found it as support, that was the base for the parabola to launch. Same thing, found it as support, base, launch. We've found this as support twice now. I do think that this next move is going to go to the upside. Could there be a washout to the downside? Sure. But I will be an absolute buyer if this does have that move. I do think it's going to be the biggest bear trap in history if it does, basically lose this. This level, this fair value, let's actually pull it up. There we go. I'll pull it up live. I'll take my face off so you can see the whole deal. And where is it at? Value map. Let's see what the fair value map is. Fair value band is right now. It's about $58,000. So what is $58,000 on the chart? Let's look at what's going on here. Let's zoom in and realize that $58,000, this is 64. This would be a pretty good dip if we got here. This would be really nice. If we came down to right in here, this would be basically double testing this low. I don't think we're going to get to this point. I'm ready if we do, because you see the price over here. That's what I'm looking at. 58.8 essentially. I don't think we're going to come down and lose that, because if we did, that would start the rollover process for potential lows. But if it happens, we'll pay attention. These are the 2 primary areas I'm watching, and I marked this one out yesterday, the 66 to 60, 65.9 to 66.6. This is the level that I marked out yesterday in the show, and we can see that price action basically came down and is sitting just above that, right on it, almost like support. But we also have this trend line that comes back here to September 19th that we basically bounce, a little chop right in here, rejection, a bounce right here, and it makes sense that if we were to come down and test this, if we just hold here and push up, great. But we have to pay attention to the fact that this market is ripe for big moves right now because it's so highly leveraged. The open interest is, especially on the CME futures, is I think the highest it's ever been, which makes every move a potential powder keg for incredible volatility to come in, and it could be in either direction. So even if we got a very quick impulse up, I'd be a little skeptical. I'd be waiting for a little bit of a retracement to see the bulls agreeing with defending a level above where it broke out from. If it breaks down, I'd be waiting for the retrace up and seeing if the bears still have authority to send it lower. As it stands right now, I mean, this was telegraphing to us, this rounding top was telegraphing to us that this was likely going to break down. And we see that. And now look at this. We have this low. What have I told you on these rounding tops? When you have the impulse, 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 and then all of a sudden you have a lower low from this range, we want to look for some sort of retracement up for a lower high and potential that next move down, which I think would be down here in the 64s. What does this look like on the liquidation map? So this is all 66s all the way through here. So coming down to all the way to 64 would clear all of this out. So and you can see looking at this on the weekly chart that most of the liquidity is in this nodule right here, which would suggest that maybe we only get down into the 65.4 or something like that. What does that look like on the chart? 65.4 would be, look at that. I can't make that up. 65.5 on this chart, option J. See that 65.5? That is this trend line that we've had marked out on here since the beginning of this consolidation pattern. With this impulse, this was the first two touch points. I projected this out, and this is the exact level that we had to just test before breaking out. Also chopped around it there. So it wouldn't be so bad to actually have the confirmation. And looking at this, if we did come down into this zone right in here, we'd be basically testing the resolve of this high, this chop zone, clearing out that liquidity and all of this liquidity below us. So guys, I mean, everything in the market right now is feeling so good. All of this whale buying, it's so much more. The avenue for big capital coming into the market has changed the dynamic of capital flows. The question is going to be, is retail also going to participate in a major way this cycle? Are they going to go only for altcoins? That's something I think there's going to be a lot of Bitcoin buying, but I do think that the lack of investment education with most people that come into these markets, they see the price of the token and they think it's high or low, not realizing that token price is no data point if you're not looking at the market cap, if you're not looking at the total number of tokens, so on and so forth. So somebody might see Bitcoin at $80,000 and go, oh, I missed that. I'm going to buy Cardano, or I'm going to buy Avalanche, or I'm going to buy, something, a meme coin that's way cheaper. So there's going to be very interesting capital flows this cycle because, one, tighter purse strings, people's savings are at near all-time lows. We're also seeing record levels of default and bankruptcies. So is this going to be an institutional run? It's yet to see, but we've all been stacking. We are ready for this. And considering where we're at, will it break out soon? Well, look at this chart. This is a 3-week Bitcoin chart. This is the stochastic RSI showing that each time this has come and crossed bullish with authority, that started this run. This started this run right here. This started this. This is basically a full market cycle from 3,100 to 14,000 back down to about 4,700 and then back up. But this started with this. Same again, started right here with this. There's one more under my picture. You can't, under my camera, but there's one more back here in 2012. We just crossed and it's got a couple ticks to the upside too, suggesting this momentum is, and the buying pressure, and there's so much bullishness right now. It's just like, be patient with market movements. Don't jump at every opportunity because as I've been pointing out on the stream, I do think there's going to be some whipsaws both to the upside and the downside. But Bad Fox says, I really drink a margarita, but I'm going to go blend a strawberry margarita. Hey, have that strawberry margarita. Are you still in Miami? I know you've been traveling, so shout out to you. And shout out to Titan of Crypto, always posting great charts. Go ahead and hit the like button on that. By the way, everybody, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell. If you haven't yet, come over here on to the, where is it at? Let me refresh. There you go. Make sure you, it's right here. Is it not playing? I hope it is. either way, you can come hit this retweet, hit this like button. This enters you to win, whether or not it's still playing on Twitter or not. I hope it is. For some reason, it's not showing there. But hit that retweet, hit that like button. It enters you to win, and you're showing some love to the channel as well. So coming back over to this chart right here, let's go to the next one. We got, this is very interesting. Fed prepares to play Santa in quarter 4. Liquidity boost ahead for Bitcoin. Liquidity boost in markets is going to buoy. It's going to start pushing a lot of bullish narratives in the markets if we're seeing a lot of liquidity being injected in the market. While the community holds its breath for over a potential Trump win in November, global liquidity is gearing up for a boost regardless of who steps into the White House. Believe it or not, Bitcoin, the hardest asset in the world, will welcome both with open arms. And this is true. We had this deviation down, large deviation up, but we've kind of on this uptrend now. And we've been looking at the global liquidity charts that I've been sharing with you, seeing that it just broke, to all-time highs. It's having a little bit of a pullback, small pullback at the moment, but I do expect, considering global debt, there's only one direction they can go with money printing. It's more. So this is a very bullish understanding to realize that we're in right now. And then, of course, looking at this, here is a better visualization of the daily RSI getting over 70 and how that's impacted the monthly Bitcoin chart. Now, I do want to point something out here. So many people talk about RSI as being overbought or oversold. In reality, it's the relative strength index. So you can correlate this sometimes saying it's very overbought. You can also look at this and say the underlying strength is very strong. So I'm going to take my face off so you can, I think you can see it all. When this gets over the 70 metric, this is just this last year and a half. This is that first impulse on at the beginning of last year. RSI pushed up into the 70 zone right here, and this started a large move. Pushed up into the 70 zone, started a very large move. We cooled off with some sideways. This is that dip around the, actually, when was this? Yeah, this was that dip. This was a dip around, this was it. I was just trying to do the math in my head because of the metrics here. This is the dip around the ETF, the speculation pump, the little consolidation sell-off, and then the launch. This is that move right here. And look, once we hit 70 again, large move up, and we've just been holding up in this range this time, basically the $73,000 to $50,000 range, predominantly in the mid 60s. And we've just been holding here. And this is incredible to see. And now RSI has been working its way back up. We want to really watch this strength here on the monthly chart. If this does start ticking back up and we start seeing movements, that will be great. We do not want to see the movement and the strength reducing, because then we'll be seeing a pretty large bearish divergence on the monthly. That's something we need to keep an eye on. But all in all, things are looking very bullish for Bitcoin right now in the mid time frame. In the very short time frame, looking at what's going on this, again, I'm watching this zone right here, basically 66,396, and then also down here at 64,384. But that's what I'm seeing, but that's what I'm feeling. I do think there's somebody that wants to say hello to all of you right now. So let me go ahead and pull my boy, and I might have the wrong lower third, but that's all good. Mr. Danky Dank, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I just moved my camera right in the right direction, so we're good, bro. How you doing, man?
Good. I'm just trying to find your boom. There we go. I couldn't see it because it's so far away. How you doing, man? The market's
I'm good,
making you
man.
thirsty?
Yeah, the markets have been quite the interesting spectacle lately. It's been an interesting week, I would say, and I want to say hello to everybody out there, all of you BitLabbers, all the Danksters out there. Sorry I couldn't make it yesterday. I'm still feeling under the weather. It's kind of crazy, actually. It hasn't gotten any better. But anyhow, I hope everyone's doing well. What's interesting is the markets right now. This is another situation where we've run into in the last couple of days, last week or so, where Bitcoin starts to pump. We hit 69K. We start pushing these upper levels. Then what do? We start seeing Bitcoin dominance pushing that 59%. Another thing is that when this is the thing, right? A lot of people in my server and around me have been getting kind of frustrated a little bit, right? They're like, oh man, every time, Bitcoin pumps, my coin pumps, and then it starts to bleed even more. What I've noticed is a lot of times when we get stuck in a certain range, Bitcoin will start to top out. And as a result, what'll happen is our altcoins that are in our portfolio will also start to kind of like not know exactly what to do or where to go, right? Let's kind of get stuck in a certain range. Now, because of Bitcoin hitting this peak right here, I even put out a post. I said this 1 hour candlestick, I think it's right here. I don't remember where it was. I think it was one of these somewhere over here. I was like, this one possibly could change lives, right? Because it breaks through our 55, breaks through our descending channel, and then we use as support. However, we break down and then we come back into this descending channel again, and we're starting to break under on the 1 hour, the 200 moving average. So it can be kind of difficult, right? Especially as a trader, it can be super frustrating on my end for sure. Because it's like, all right, where are we gonna go? What's gonna happen? So what I've been doing is a lot of scalping actually, just to kind of get into the action and start feeling better about my trades and stuff like that. These long-term trades, these swing trades, these like, intraday trading, I haven't been able to get too many of in, honestly. So for me, I've been kind of just waiting, sitting on my laurels and just waiting for the next big move up. How's the market making you feel, my man?
Well, I was just talking about it. There's so many bullish indications about very soon there's going to be something monster to the upside. But at the same time, if we're looking at just the pattern and we're not trying to find the bullish side of it, we do have to realize we are in the 7-month essentially range. We have a small deviation above right now, the breakout, but it hasn't confirmed because we haven't tested this area and continued past this most recent, most local high. So as it stands, we still have a potential. I think we're going to scoop a little bit of liquidity below us down to about 65.
Interesting you mentioned that. Yeah. Binance has, man, there's not much down here on Binance.
Look at like the 3-day or the weekly.
Yeah, let's look at the 3-day here. Okay, so again, so maybe there's more up top actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we could actually go up there and scoop that, and that would be sort of a little bit of a mini bull trap, and then work its way down to all that liquidity below us.
I see. Yeah, interesting. Oh well, on the weekly we do have more below now. But short term, yeah, I can see that. I can see a bull trap up to the upside and then smack down right to like 65-ish and then move straight back up and then maybe start our official bull run here. Definitely though, this is what I will say is if we look at it from like right here, this is hella bullish, right? We've got higher lows and higher highs, and I love to see it. So that definitely makes me super excited. If we can somehow, maybe if we do come and just retest this little 200 right here, and then we do break, and then we make that move to the upside, maybe even close right here, and then if it's okay, if we come back down to like, say we come down to like right at this, like if we can just maybe smack that low and even break even with it and just move straight up, pull that liquidity. Because remember, when you're moving higher, okay, as you're moving higher, people are placing long positions. It's kind of like if I go like here, let me just kind of delete all this. If we place long positions as we move higher, say we move from here, okay, boom, I place a long there. That red line here, actually, I should change it to green. Excuse me. So I'll change it to green. So boom, we got a long there. Okay, so then we move maybe to this area, and then there's another long that we place here, and then another long that we place here. So this is what starts to happen in the liquidity heat map, right? and you start to see all these longs building up. Okay. And then what happens is the price will end up somewhere around here, right? And then people will start to short, you know? So then you start getting this liquidity squeeze, right? Where the CEX is, we talk about this all the time. And you know, it's unfortunate that we have to talk about this, but it's something that we need to be aware of. I imagine these are all red. I didn't make them all red, but I mean, maybe I can here. So anyways, these are all red. These are all shorts, right? Eventually people are going to be placing shorts at the area where they feel that we are just topped out, which makes sense, right? It's just a psychological number. It's like, all right, we are breaking a level where Bitcoin just hasn't been able to break before. I'm placing hundreds of millions of dollars of shorts. They're going to come up, possibly squeeze out take out the liquidity, pull us back down, and then take out this liquidity. It feels like it's like a DMT trip, man. It's like, when are they going to stop playing with me? You know what I mean? So it's like that is what we face, though. Until then, I don't know. That's probably when we'll break to the upside. I feel like I've been saying the same thing over and over again for the last 6 months, but I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to this market at this current time and day. But at the same time, it's still pretty bullish in my opinion, because we're moving to higher highs, we're moving to higher lows, we're testing these higher numbers. And remember, we're like only a few $5,000 away from all-time highs. So we're looking really, really good. If we look, Ethereum finally hit 27K over the last couple of days, which was great to see. And that also gives us some bullish indication as well. Ethereum came down into the golden pocket that I mapped out for you guys just last week. And that was really nice to see as well. Picking up some more ETH, again, forming higher highs, higher lows, pulling back, probably going to test off this 0.50 level right here and bounce up as well. ETH doing significantly strong also. Anything in your bag that you've been picking up at a good price lately, Mr. Kelly Kell?
I mean, I wish I had a little bit more dry powder on the sideline right now, because I've been wanting to stack more into Chainlink. And we're seeing some awesome stuff come out with Chainlink. Also, I don't know if you saw. Right, here we go. Here we go. I don't know if you saw this. Let me actually switch the screen. Hold on, because I'm home screen. Screen work. There we go. Here we go. Chainlink's world's largest. This is their partnerships with world's largest financial institutions: Swift, DTCC, Euroclear, Clearstream, JP Morgan, Citi, BNY Mellon, BNP Paribas, UBS, US Bank, State Street. I mean, look at the list of the traditional institutions that Chainlink is integrated with, and everything that they're doing is just. I feel like this is going to blow people out of the water, because it's been kind of a boring narrative, but I think that because of all of this, all these types of partnerships, I think this has the ability as an altcoin to step a little bit out of that altcoin narrative, in that institutional money, because of the partnerships they have with so many institutions, may likely flow also not in huge amounts, but in some ways to Chainlink as well. I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink are going to be, and Solana as well, are going to be the primary ones that get institutional. The one outside of that would also be a part of that, I think, is Avalanche.
You know what BNP Paribas is, right? That's the tennis open. I live right here. This is 1 mile from my house. So this is one of the bigger stadiums for the BNP Paribas Open, which is a tennis tournament. And people fly from all over the world to come here. This stadium is beautiful. I've literally sat on the front line right here. I'm curious on what Chainlink is doing for them. So they're a bank, okay? BNP Paribas is a bank. So they're getting their hands in a lot of these different big financial institutions. Some people might never have heard of BNP Paribas, but because of the Tennis Open, I have, and we have a bank of theirs close to mine. So I was just talking with somebody the other day, as Chainlink being, an oracle and being one of the only, if not probably the only of its caliber, doing what it's doing. So Chainlink is, there's only a few that are going to last a lifetime, possibly, or what we consider a lifetime or our lifetime or
Well, in
a
crypto,
long
a
time.
lifetime means probably 5 or 7 years.
Yeah.
But, I mean, shit, a lifetime in crypto is probably like, it feels like 7 months, right?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's what we're facing because when we're in an emerging market, right? And that's just what we're facing. Yeah, we're just waiting to see what's going to be the next big thing. Like, Ondo, obviously, this one, I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of numbers this is going to end up putting up in the long run. Now, what was interesting, did you see? Let me see if I can pull it up. BlackRock says Bitcoin housing market. Did you see what BlackRock said? Larry Fink. Oh, he didn't say. Now they come up and say he didn't say. All right, so I was fooled. But what I mean, I saw it was from BlackRock. I think it was literally. I think from. I thought it was on like one of those big magazine websites saying BlackRock CEO Bitcoin market cap would reach bigger than the housing market, $50
I
trillion.
saw that too. I brought it up. I had Quentin Francois on Friday, and he pointed out the account that shared that shares good stuff sometimes, and also shares some, like, I don't want to say parody, but it kind of like makes up some news as well just for clicks. So that might have been the same one that I saw.
Well, man, he got hella clicks, man. That was something to see. I mean, to see, because I was like, really, like he's gonna come out and say that? Then why? I mean, if he does say it, I could see why. They're trying to get more and more business from some of these boomers, right? Because if you can compare Bitcoin to the housing market, well, what does everybody say? If they're not investing in Bitcoin, they're like, oh no, I don't do that. I invest in housing, right? So if you can somehow compare Bitcoin to the housing market, you got a whole nother group of people, like tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that'll be willing to invest in Bitcoin, possibly just off of the word of someone like Larry Fink. So that was interesting to me to hear that. But unfortunately,
let me get your thoughts on Ethereum though, because some people are feeling like maybe this isn't going to be a cycle for Ethereum because there's so many other layer 1s, layer 2s, Sui, Solana, Avalanche. There's so many different things out there. Do you feel like Ethereum is a bit undervalued? Like, do you think it's going to have its day where it's just going to start melting faces, or do you feel like the narrative is so focused on other things?
This is the thing. I get faced with that question a lot. I think that Ethereum is not. I think it's undervalued. Yes, I think that we are going to see a day where Ethereum hits probably north of 10K down the road. I don't see how it's possible that we don't. Ethereum has paved the landscape for cryptocurrency as we know it today. Smart contracts were developed under Ethereum, so it's like, and also Ethereum, they're not just sitting back saying, all right, well, our technology is good enough. What did they do? They moved from proof of work to proof of stake. They added more nodes. They're making their transactions cheaper. I still hear people say, oh, I don't use Ethereum because of the gas fees. But then I say, well, have you used Ethereum this year? And they're like, well, no, because back 2 years ago, I paid $120 for a gas fee for some transaction that was $500. But today, like if you do a transaction today for $2,000, it's like $5 in gas fees. So they're making these strides. Now, what I would like to see them do is move from ZK rollups to ZK compression. If they can do ZK compression, which basically takes the data and instead of having these separate chains like ZK sync or any ZK rollup for that matter, and actually integrate ZK compression, it creates instead of off-chain and a second layer 2, it's an on-chain solution and a layer 1 solution where it'll actually be able to compress the data and make it on-chain, which is actually what Solana has done, right? And they've already started to integrate. So Solana is starting to actually push Ethereum to do things faster, more efficient, and cheaper, because this is the thing, also in my community as well, and possibly in yours, there's people saying, hey, like, I don't even invest in these Solana meme coins. I only invest in Ethereum ones because these are the ones I know are going to have a much less likelihood of getting rugged, right? And that's just what we've experienced. So Ethereum still has a really good, strong backbone and a really good, strong community. And the devs behind Ethereum and everything like that are still building on Ethereum. And there's so much growth to be had. And if you look at the chart on the daily, I mean, this is a pretty healthy looking chart, if you ask me. Sure, we didn't break previous all-time highs, but this looks set up to do this looks set up to just rocket off almost from right here. Now, on the daily, though, we do have this death cross. It does kind of look like, hey, but on the 55, if we can just kind of move up and then break up and start moving to this upside here, I think Ethereum will do big numbers. I mean, is it undervalued? Yes. Did it come back to exactly where we said it would? Yes. So, nothing performs exactly as we want. And there's a lot of other things happening in the space. But Ethereum to me is Big Daddy, besides Bitcoin. It's like the mommy, Bitcoin's the daddy, Ethereum's the mommy, Solana's the baby brother, the bull in the china shop, like thrashing around, So let's see I'm curious that's why I put in Ethereum news. I wonder what kind of let's go to Lunar Crush. I'm curious. Hopefully I'm logged in. Oh, I'm not logged in here. I'll just pull it over here and I'll log in real quick because I'm curious to see what Lunar Crush's sentiment is on this here. Thanks. Email confirmation. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm just pulling, while you're doing that, I'm just going to my favorite news aggregator, newsnow.com. You come up here, you can hit crypto, and then you can select which major token you want the news on. Let's see, top. So rejection. It's all price action stuff. Nothing to. It's all price forecast.
Okay.
There's no real major developments going on at the moment. I think
Okay,
everybody's kind of sitting and waiting. I think the fact that the ETF launched was good, but I think the timing of it being launched when the market sentiment was down and people are like, it failed. It's like, no, there's no real money flowing in at that time. So I do think once we get into 2025, I think we'll start seeing some pretty big flows into Ethereum as well. Especially also, remember Franklin Templeton launched an index ETF with basically it's a pair of, you get Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I do think sometime next year, even when I talk with James Seifert, I interviewed him at Bitcoin conference. He said that they already have crypto like altcoin indexes as ETFs prepared to basically submit the applications on, but they're waiting, one, for what the administration is going to be, so they know kind of how to tailor it, and two, just kind of the final sort of nod with their internal sources. But I do think we're going to be seeing some fireworks next year from some of those things.
Definitely. Yeah, that right there, the ETF, the duplicate ETF, the duo, dynamic duo is a nice combination to see. I use Lunar Crush. If you don't, this is not sponsored. I just pay to use this site. It's $10 a month, but it gives you the sentiment across the major media platforms like Reddit, TikTok, X, YouTube, and GitHub. Now, when it's got right now 52% neutral, 41% positive. That's pretty good actually, and only 7% negative. Now, the only thing I would say is that in the ranking, in the coin ranking, because this is a ranking service, right? So if we go, you can see like where's crypto right now. We're at number 6. Back a month ago, we were down here at like number 13, even at number 21 at a point. So this is a good site to actually see where crypto in its entirety on the global scale on social media, where is crypto sitting? Well, it's moved up 5 ranks in the last 24 hours, right? Which means crypto is becoming more and more popularly talked about. Look at this. It says category rank, engagements, mentions, sentiment, social dominance, creators, So if you use a site like this will help kind of gauge where crypto is as a whole. And then of course you've got, Ethereum sitting on top actually. Now it's alt rank, which is something different, but it's still number one on the lunar crush sentiment scale. So it's, you know, in my opinion, still very popular in social media. And if it's popular in social media, then I think it's being talked about, and it's still very relevant. Social dominance is 8.2% of all crypto, right? Which is almost 10%, which is pretty good. I mean, is this without Bitcoin? I'm curious. So yeah, anyhow, I like using this site a lot. And then you can actually go in here and it'll show you every single thing that's been talked about on Ethereum. They've actually changed the layout recently. So then you can click what creators have talked about what, you know, and how frequently and stuff like that. So this is a pretty cool thing that I used to look at. I think that Ethereum is going to continue to grow, is going to continue to become better, more efficient, faster, cheaper, and so on and so forth. So in my opinion, would we have liked to see breaking all-time highs like Bitcoin? Yeah, but at the same time, maybe we get to see it break later onto the upside. This is, again, we have to realize that we are in a baby market. It's been 10, 12, 13 years into cryptocurrency, and we're just finding our footing now, you know? So I don't think that there's any definite answer to any of these cryptos that we're seeing today. Chainlink. I think only Bitcoin is the one for sure we could say down the road is probably going to be, you know, 500K or $1 million in 15, 20, 25, 30 years. But I think Ethereum should be following closely behind that. I mean, we're still, if we look at coin market cap, Ethereum is sitting at $315 billion in market cap, right? So the closest one next to that is USDT, which everybody uses, and it's 1/3 the price, 1/3 the actual market cap, 1/3 the value of Ethereum. So look at, like, what else do you know that is worth this much money, you know? So because of that, I don't see anything coming close. Now, Solana, could it do a 5x and then just become like right up here next to it? Yeah, absolutely. Above it, number two, it
Well, I mean,
could.
here's the deal. If Solana 5X's, it's not going to 5X in a vacuum. It's going to 5X because the market in general is pushing. So it's going to 5X, and maybe Ethereum 2.5X's, maybe 4X. We'll have to see how this all plays out. But they'll both be running, you know, kind of to the upside. It's not like Ethereum's going to be sitting still and Solana's just going to pump.
Of course. What do you think about BNB, CZ, and all that stuff?
So BNB, I was talking with Quentin Francois about it on Friday. I asked him because he's in Brussels and he also spends a lot of time in Dubai. I said, am I just in my own bubble in the US, because I don't feel like I see anybody ever talking about BNB. He's like, yeah, same. I don't see it either. He kind of wonders if it's a lot of institutional money that's involved, because it's a monster crypto. It's up there among the top.
Yeah, I agree as well. BNB also, in my eyes, doing big things in the space. But look here. See, we have 56% neutral, 13. So this is twice the amount of negative sentiment as Ethereum, and it's less positive. Ethereum was 41 and positive and 7 negative. BNB is 32 positive, 13 negative. So, I mean, then the sentiment is twice as much negative as it is Ethereum. Now, does that mean that it couldn't just switch tomorrow and all of a sudden? Yeah, of course, anything can happen. But right now, I think that let me turn these notifications off. Let's see what CZ's been saying around here on, let's see, at CZ. What has he been saying? I haven't checked his account since he's gotten out. What's the date? So the 20th, beware of fake accounts, deep fake videos of me attending Binance Blockchain Week. Okay. So Binance Blockchain Week, the Halloween week, night or day, and the day before. So that's going to be interesting. So I guess that'll be his first major event out in Dubai. So that's going to be, okay. So this is interesting, right? So look for BNB to possibly do some gains over Halloween and the day before, and maybe possibly up towards that. Because if CZ comes out, does a speech, says something that we haven't heard yet before, there could be some big news that comes out. Maybe they've been waiting to say, we don't know. So I would keep an eye on BNB for sure over the next week or so. When, not if,
Do you
BTC
have any
breaks.
thoughts on Doge, since it is the King Daddy OG meme coin, and it's kind of I don't want to say transcended, but in some ways it kind of, like, you're not worried about Doge getting rugged, and there's so many people that I
Right.
talk to that kind of heard about crypto last cycle and didn't get in, and the first thing they say when they don't really understand, they're like, yeah, when I want to buy some Doge. So I do think there's a broad market appeal for the plebes out there as they come in, but also, people that are, been in the space for a while, they might just want something that's going to have that strong narrative, especially if it gets integrated on something like X payments.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, definitely X payments will give it a massive boost because that'll probably be the number one form of payment. I would imagine on X. I would definitely be choosing that one to use as a payment system as well. And it's funny you say that. I play poker professionally, daily. Not daily, like 3-4 days a week. I play at the casino. I play live locally at a Morongo casino. So if you're ever out there, say hi to me. Marty, actually, he's a subscriber. I was playing poker. He came up to me. He's like, "Hey, are you Crypto Danks?" I was like, "Who are you? How do you know?" "Oh, yeah, I'm on you." "Okay, cool." So what's up, Marty? If you're seeing this, good to see you. Thanks for saying hi. But yeah, when I'm at the casino, I talk about poker. I have a Bitcoin tattoo on my arm, so people ask me about crypto and stuff like that. And they all, almost 99%, if not 100% of the time, they say, "Oh, I bought Dogecoin," or "I had Dogecoin," or "I have Dogecoin," or SHIB, right? So it's either Doge or SHIB. I always hear about from people that are just kind of, normies, or that aren't too familiar with the space, or have been around the space but haven't been indulged like we are. So I think Doge is definitely a tier one meme coin that is just going to stick around for quite some time. Obviously not going to get rugged. I would like to see actually its like top 100. I'd be curious to look that up. Let's see what the social sentiment is on Doge. I think Doge is going to stick around for quite some time, and
And
possibly
based on
even
what you were
longer. It's
saying,
like a safe.
also, I think that it's a great signal for when retail's really kind of getting in the market.
I agree. Yeah, definitely, because that's going to be one of their first things that they go to, because they all say also, "Man, I bought it at such and such price and it went to 70 something cents," and they're going to see it now at the price of 13 cents, and that's going to look cheap to them, right? Because it kind of is. If you think about it, it's 4, 5, 6x away from all-time highs. And when you're that far from all-time highs, you're thinking probably that it's going to go higher and higher. So why not throw some change into Dogecoin? I think, look, we've been stable between, what was it, like higher 9 cents up towards around 11 cents for quite some time, and then recently broke out of that level. So this is showing some pretty significant growth. We broke out of the eights, like higher, lower 9, 8 cent range, broke up to the 20s, and now we're breaking down. And then we've created this higher low, higher high situation again. We're starting to see that on a lot of crypto, Bitcoin, all of the ones that we've looked at so far have this trend, lower highs, higher lows, higher highs. So we're forming this formation that looks like we're ready to burst to the upside. Let's take a look on the 8 hour here. Yeah, you can see it here. On the 8 hour, we have the bullish cross, the golden cross here. Looks like we're coming down to test the 21. Could break it, test the 55. But we do have some pretty bullish movement. Let me see. We are starting to form some bearish crosses here on the 8 hour. What's the daily look like? Yeah, I mean, we'll probably calm down, pull back a little bit. But again, 55 crossing up on the daily and possibly looking to form a nice push to the upside. When I'm looking more and more at the charts, I think that there's some really big bullishness about to come. We're about to break hard to the upside. You just can't, it's hard to look at these charts and say, "Nah, we're done." Like, if you're looking at, if you understand how to read charts, to me, this looks across every single time. We'll look at almost everything. They all look very bullish. So I'm thinking that just hanging on. I probably wouldn't, if I had not bought Doge now yet, I probably would wait a little bit or dollar cost average. Right now, I'm telling everyone, not financially, not financial advice, but I'm telling everyone to just dollar cost average, because we don't know if we're going to just smash up and out into the stratosphere or not, or if we're going to smack back down again. So if you have a budget and you've been waiting and you've been sitting on the sidelines, you haven't been investing yet, and you're like, I don't know, like I got $1,000 or I've got $10,000, I got $100,000. I don't know what to do. Like I've got this cash that, that I got a settlement, whatever it is. I would not just chuck it all into the market at once, especially right now. It's such a volatile, uncertain time.
Well,
We've got
we
the
have
elections coming up.
we have the election coming up, but then we also just saw the news from China, them readying their army for war. We see everything going on with Iran and Israel, and all. There's a lot of reason to be cautious here. If you're not just looking at the Bitcoin charts and all the charts that I showed before that showed up is next. Well, I still think up is next, even if something catastrophic happens. It just may delay it. It may cause a massive washout to the downside. But I absolutely do think we're in a situation right now that it's essentially just a waiting game. Remember, these markets move money from the impatient to the patient. So be patient right now. Come up with, if you don't have a strategy, do not chunk it all in one move. As he said, just layer it in over the course of several weeks, and price could be up higher than it is now in several weeks. It may be lower. I'm betting on higher, but that's why you DCA, because you never know what the market's going to do.
It's funny because you're like a certified bull, right? And I'm kind of neutral, slightly bearish, slightly bullish. Like I'm very, undetermined on what I am exactly, and that's why I have my moderator group the way that I have it. I've got bulls, I've got bears, I've got Caspians, I've got Sui lovers. There's a bunch of us, and I think it's important to have a variety of sentiment around you, because if you're full of just confirmation bias that's around me, then that does me no good, right? We want to seek alternative advisement, seek alternative sentiment and ideas and thoughts about what's going to happen with the market. When I see TAO, it's interesting because I saw TAO and I went for a long up here when I had some pretty bullish signals on the daily and stuff like that. I'm like, oh wow, we've been going and we haven't broken out of this channel in over a month, right? This ascending channel that I drawn here. But what happens? We actually break down, and it looks like TAO had been overheated and due for a correction, and now we started to see it. So every coin eventually is going to be doing its own thing. But Bitcoin dominance, that's the one thing we can't fight, has been growing, right? We've seen it north of 59%, which is the highest that we've seen since the previous fall or the previous bull cycle, right? End of 2021 or so. So yeah, I mean, we were at 59% when we were, dipping and seeing the last part of the bull run here. And yeah, I mean, these are the percentages of dominance that we start to see when we are pulling into this bull cycle. I mean, Bitcoin dominance has steadily been increasing over the year of 2023, 2024. And this only means one thing. I mean, Bitcoin is literally gaining more market cap dominance. What does this mean? If you don't know what Bitcoin dominance is, this says right here, I can zoom in a little bit. It says 58.49%. 58.49% of the entire market cap, or the entire amount of liquidity, which eventually equals the market cap, the money that's in cryptocurrency, 58.49% of it is in Bitcoin. Like, really think about that. There's millions of cryptos out there. There's 40, 50,000 on coin market cap alone. But Bitcoin has 58% of that market cap, right? So out of $2.3 trillion in market cap, Bitcoin has, almost more than half, almost 60%. That's a lot. One coin, one cryptocurrency. And we see that, you know, in the news. You're seeing that on Bloomberg markets, you know what I mean? But then what do I see on the, you know, on the tickers underneath? You see Ethereum, you see BNB, you see MATIC, you know. So these are ones to pay attention to, and that I feel that are sleepers. MATIC is 36 cents, you guys. This one is, in my opinion, is not going anywhere, and also another one that I think is undervalued. It's a 10x from all-time highs. I don't see how we don't break all-time highs somewhere in the near future for Polygon. Could I be wrong? Maybe, but I mean, Matic. Let's see what the social sentiment is like here. I'm curious. Matic. Wow, look at this. 69% positive. 1% negative. Come on, guys. Right? So this is a sleeper. I think that if I were to be looking at a tier one crypto to invest in, and I had some powder as well. I have a little bit, but not much. I'm pretty much tapped out on powder, waiting to move up. I just have my trading bag. So Matic might be something I'm looking at for a trade. Let's take a look real quick here, and then I'm gonna have to bounce, get my daughter to school here. Let's see, Matic USDT. Let's look at Binance. Let's see if we can do a little TA on this one right here. Oh, this one's doesn't have much history on it. Let me see. Does Matic have an index? Yeah, here we go. Okay. So let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, Matic is sitting at the it's on the floor. Matic is on the floor. It's like someone left a baby outside and we got to go pick it up, you know? We got to go pick up our baby. Look at this. It's on the floor. Yeah, now I'm glad I mentioned that because I might try to find some powder here. I got some gold I can sell. I shouldn't say that out loud, I think, but it's like, look, yeah, we're moving higher on the RSI. We're bouncing off of this average here. It looks like if we can move to the upside. What is this? The daily? Yeah. We're on the floor here on Matic. I think it could definitely do some pretty good numbers. So, this is the time to look for some of these undervalued crypto that maybe you might not have thought about. And again, people are out there looking for these big gains. And like, look, I've fallen victim to it too. I've got like 5 SOL that I threw into like a 400K market cap on bullx.io. It's like, we don't need to do that type of stuff, right? We can just invest into these bigger caps. You don't have to invest in a sub $1 million market cap crypto to make a 30x, a 10x. You don't have to do that. You can go and invest into a top 10, a top 20, a top 50 crypto and go and make your money. So be careful out there. I know we want to go and like invest in some of these really degen plays. If you're out there in communities, a lot of us are doing it. We all do. Especially in my degen community, we have just some pure-hearted degens, which I love. But at the end of the day, that's what gets them through the day to day. But that's not what's necessary to make significant gains, and it's not safe. So
just pick some of the right horses, get exposed to some different narratives in the space, and be willing to have an action plan that's more than just 10 minutes. You got to sometimes wait 7 months, and then just when you're about to give up, or when you actually do give up, that's when the market just runs away. Man, I always love talking with you, buddy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, pleasure having me. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Of course, brother. Just shout out. I want to do a proof of cocktail here from Bad Fox. She's shared the stream here and shared the cocktail there. Everybody that is tuned in on Twitter or on YouTube, head over to my page right here at Kelly Kellum or at Academy BitLab. Hit that retweet, hit that like button. It enters you to win. We draw every Monday. So I also want to shout out our boy, Mr. Crypto Danks. Follow him right here at Crypto Danks X. He's got his Patreon and he's got a YouTube and all kind of great stuff in his community. Dude, thank you so much for popping in here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Take care.
Everybody, have a wonderful day. We're going to head over to Blockchain Basement. Let's go. Adios. Bye.